Qualifying will get underway as scheduled at 2 o'clock. First of our qualifying periods will be for 20 minutes with the entire field. We'll cut the field then to the top 12. We'll go through into Q2, and then the fastest 5 will go through into Q3. Looking at the Drivers' Championship points here, and our double world champion Jose Maria Lopez now 94 points clear of anybody else. However, the Citroens frankly really struggled in the dry first free practice and also in a damp to drier second free practice. Whether they will find any more pace in these torrential conditions, we will have to wait and see. I wonder what Thiago Monteiro and Honda have to think about it.
So we changed a little bit the procedure in order to have the car 10 seconds before the pit lane open outside, and to avoid to stay under the rain like stupid guys. So I will let you know a countdown as a Mach 3 with the standard procedure, and follow my information, and then we go.
And the idea there is that they do not want to sit outside with the tyres on the ground or out of their blankets, as you saw there from one of the Citroens. Ivan Muller still has his tyre blankets on, Jose Maria Lopez does not, which means his tyres will be losing temperature, and on this cold, very wet track, are unlikely to gain an awful lot of that back. You want as much temperature in the carcass of the tyre as possible for as long as possible before you put it down on the cold, wet tarmac. Well, we saw in the second free practice session, it was very, very slippery. It was definitely, even when it was just marginally damp, it was definitely not really slick weather. This track is low grip at the best of times. And we've been racking our brains as to when we last had wet qualifying. Donington 2011, the race of Great Britain at Donington Park. Big rain showers swept through before qualifying, and it then went damp to dry. And actually the pole time set by Ivan Muller was not even within 2 seconds of the fastest race lap time set by Rob Huff, which was actually in the first of the 2 races. Ivan was on pole, won both of the races, shouldering Rob Huff aside in the first of their little incidents together. Rob was second in both races. But that wasn't an entirely rainy qualifying session. The last one I can think of that I think it rained in qualifying was Brands Hatch 2006. So it may be a decade since we've had wet qualifying in WTCC. Well, the time lapse shows you exactly what we've had to deal with, and although we have been told that qualifying will start in 12 seconds, there is a sweeper track out on track. So something needs to change urgently. Either the countdown and the green lights need to not happen,
Yvan, tu veux faire quoi? Tu compares d'entrée ou pas alors? Là, il y a une petite accalmie, c'est-à-dire que c'est un peu moins fort. Moi, je suis navé pour partir entre le groupe, parce qu'en plus, il y a une accalmie et il y a toujours 15 voitures qui passent devant et ça n'est pas toujours. Ok.
Well, there you go. That's Citroen's plan. Now, I'm rather hoping that the pictures of that track sweeper were not actually live as the track went live. Otherwise, our first few drivers, although they're on a sighting lap, will be in for a shock. So Jose Maria Lopez leads the field out. He'll see what's in front of him. Anybody else in the spray may not do. Understandably, the track has been declared wet by the race director, so wet weather tyres are being used by everybody. And you will see it is extraordinarily treacherous out on the track. In these very, very wet conditions indeed. It is still raining pretty hard. On board with Ugo Valente chasing his Lada teammates. Lada's very quick in all test sessions so far in dry and in wet conditions, although nothing has been as wet as this. My paddock mole, a Mr. Noah, suggests that he has got exactly the right equipment for pole position here. And I don't think it's a car. Jose Maria Lopez, the first man out of the pit lane. And as you can see, it is streaming wet. I mean, this is really, really very wet indeed. Everybody who's been sheltering under their awnings and in their garages. Lopez, the only man who's going to have any visibility worthy of the name coming up the back straight. Look how much water's been thrown up. And he was staying well off the racing line, under braking for the final corner. Now, of course, the deal is, doesn't matter how wet it is, it's the same for everybody, so you have to try and set a lap. There's no guarantee the track will get any quicker. In fact, what we've seen is that it may well get slower. And Lopez, turn one is one of the corners that they will be watching very closely for exceeding track limits. He was clearly over the track limits there, so should this be a fast lap, it shouldn't count. Whether it will or not remains to be seen. Corner one, corner four, which is the one that follows this. No, corner one, corner nine rather. Corner 14 and 15 are the ones that are specifically being warned about to the drivers. So corner one, the first turn. Corner nine, which is over the brow at the end of this long technical section. And it's the area between corner 9 and 10, in fact, where they run out wide. This is 9, so it's not this corner, it's the next element where you drift out very wide between the two left-handers. That will incur penalties. And then corner 14, which follows this second uphill down-dale technical element, leads onto the back straight, which of course is critical for speed on the back straight, and corner 15 at the end of the back straight. We've seen Lopez sliding around. This is Tom Coronel at 9, running out wide. Or was that 1? 1. That's corner 1, so that's the first turn. And everybody experimenting in free practice too with trying to find where grip was in the damp. However, it was nothing like as wet as this. Jose Maria Lopez, purple in sector 1 and 2. Bernani has gone quicker in sector 1, but not in sector 2. Chilton going well in the Sebastian Loeb Racing Citroën as well. And Lopez will come across the line, first man to set a time. He goes top, 2 minutes 2.2. Bernani does a 2 minutes 2.9. That's a good lap from Mehdi Bernani. Behind come Tom Chilton, 2 minutes 4. And Ivan Moller, 2 minutes 3.1. Greg de Moustier in the 5th of the Citroëns goes into 4th place, 2 minutes 3.76. And Coronel looking very bashful coming out of the final corner, 5th quickest. And to give you an indication of where we are in terms of pace, in the damp second free practice, a quick lap was a 1:55. We're currently doing 2:02, so that's 7 seconds slower. And in the dry, a quick lap is a 1:38.5 in race trim. So we're now doing a 2 minute 2, which makes that 26 seconds, 28 seconds, 26 seconds slower than a quick dry lap. Nicky Katzberg goes second for Lada. Tom Coronel jumped up briefly and has just been deposed right down to the bottom of the time. Oh, that's interesting. His time appears to have vanished. Ah, lap 2, car number 9 disallowed. Track limits at turn 1. That was Tom Coronel, so he flew off very wide, we saw there. Wider than Lopez on the lap that's been allowed to stand, although Lopez was all 4 wheels outside the white line, so not sure about that. So, if you're going to penalise drivers going off at a certain turn, you can't say, oh, well, he was only a bit off, or he was quite off. If it's 4 wheels outside the white line, it's off. That's the rule, or that's usually the rule. Lopez on another quicker lap. Nicky Katzberg on another quicker lap as well. Katzberg, purple in sector 1, quicker than Lopez in sector 1. Lopez quicker again in sector 2, 2 minutes 1.3. Where does Lopez find these laps? Nicky Katzberg. Bernani goes across the line again in 3rd, 2 minutes 2.9. Where's Katzberg in sector 2? Hasn't finished sector 2 yet. It's the longest, most technical part of the track. Ivan Muller goes second quickest, 2 minutes 2.1. Coronel comes across the line to go second quickest. Wasn't very happy with the Chevrolet in the damp conditions. It seems to be working a lot better in the dry. Can't get it slowed, so this lap isn't going to count either. So it's Lopez, Coronel, Montero in the Honda goes third quickest ahead of Muller. Then Katzberg, Bernani and Chilton, de Moustier, Michelitz and Huff, Tarquini and Valente. Out of the 12 at the moment, Ted Björk in the Volvo you're looking at, although he's just gone to 15th. Ferenc Fischer, who was in, where was he? He was 9th in the damp session. He was 11th in the dry free practice. Had 2 very good runs today. 19-year-old, which means that he was 9 the last time we had a wet qualifying session in World Touring Cars. The last time it rained in qualifying, as far as I can figure out. 9, ladies and gentlemen. Even Gabriele Tarquini at that stage was in his 40s, not in his 50s. Gabriele Tarquini goes for a fresh set of boots, and although it doesn't say, I don't think we need to be Einstein to work out that those are wets. Lopez continues, another lap from him and another better first sector. 201.3. Well, he's out getting a few banker laps in, isn't he? So far, only Tom Coronel has had a lap disallowed. Lopez does not go quicker. Coronel's next lap disallowed, as we saw him run out wide there at turn 1 at the beginning of the lap he's on. Lopez keeps it all on the grey stuff. Important for grip and important for keeping those laps. And what he's doing now is discovering how much grip he can find. Here's Thiago Montero, third quickest. Ooh. And you're in a world of hurt. Once you start to drift away there and you're onto the white lines and everything, it's not coming back, is it? So way out wide, and then trying to find a way back onto terra firma. Lopez, Coronel, Montero and Muller. So we got Citroen, Chevy, Honda, Citroen. Then Huff for Honda, Bernani for Citroen, Katzberg for Citroen, Chilton for Citroen, de Moustier for Citroen. Blimey. The Citroens have not been in the top dozen, barely, in the dry, and suddenly they're racking up the top 7 or 8 positions. Lap disallowed for Ferenc Fischer. And Norby going off track there. Where was that? 11, 12. That's at the end of timing sector 2, so that is 11, 12. Ooh, yuck. Those barriers are coming up quick there at you, aren't they? Thiago Montero is coming for fresher tyres as well. Riding on board with Tom Chilton. This is down the long back straight. There's a corner up there in the distance somewhere, using all the lateral markers. Gets to see where the 100-metre board is. That gives him a distance marker. And then onto the brakes through turn 15. Looks quite an open corner from this shot above the grandstand, doesn't it? It's more than a 90 degrees, an acute angle corner. Here's Norby running out of road again. Not there. Ugo Valente down in 13th place in the Lada. The Ladas have been in the top 7 ever since they arrived here, and now suddenly so much wet they can't find the grip they had earlier. Valente exploring way off the racing line to try and get away from all the rubber and oil that's down and find some grip offline. Katzberg has done so. 2 purple sectors. Katzberg could go quicker than Lopez at the moment. Looking at the wrong Lada here. Valente on a good lap, and Katzberg goes fastest of all, 2 minutes 0.5. That's 8/10, very nearly quicker than Jose Maria Lopez in the Citroen. So Valente on a better lap as well, and he moves himself up to 10th. That's a 2-minute 3.3. His teammate has done a 0.5. That's 2.8 seconds off. So Katzberg on top of the pile with 8.5 minutes, or 8 minutes 20 to go. Time for another run on another set of tyres. Sitchin's having new tyres fitted for Muller. Lopez stays out. Here's James Thompson in the Munich Motorsport All-Inkle Chevrolet. Was looking very strong earlier on in the dry session or damp session. He was 6th. But finding it very, very much more treacherous in the rain. 9th at the moment. That'll do it to get him through. If he can stay in the top 10, that'll be a very good place to end Q2. Put him on the front row at the moment with Grégoire de Moustier for the opening race. Behind would be Bernani and Chilton, then Huff and Muller. And out at the moment would be Valente and Michelitz, 11th and 12th. They at the moment would go through into Q2. Gabriele Tarquini on a better lap for him. Needs to be as well, he's 3.3 off. And across the line he comes third quickest, just ahead of Tom Coronel. And Rob Huff follows him across the line into 4th. Coronel down to 5th, Montero 6th, Muller 7th. And so now out of the top 12, Norbert Michelitz in the Honda. John Philippi is out as well, who's been going very quickly in his Chevrolet. Philippi in the dry session was in 8th place. Nicky Katzberg quickest of all. What about the Volvos? What can they produce? Fredrik Ekblom 15th, Ted Björk with, I think, one flying lap in the pits is 17th. Ekblom 6.75 seconds slower than the Lada of Nicky Katzberg, and comes across the line 5 1/4 seconds back rather than 7 3/4 back. So he moves. Does he move up a spot? No, he stays 14th. Ted Björk 8 seconds slower. Ferenc Fischer 6.6 behind. So he's taken a second out on that last lap. Now he would look very comfortable in the dry, and then once he got himself dialed into the damp conditions again, Ferenc went very quickly. He was in 9th place at the end of free practice 2. Team boss Zoltan Zenger, I was chatting to him after FP2. He said if he could finish in the top 10 in Q2 and start the opening race from the front row, he said for me it would be like Christmas. And for the 19-year-old Fischer as well. Incidentally, the hope is to have another Mugen Honda engine for their second car, so they will be able to run 2 next time out. And that will be in Villarreal. Let's hear from the Honda team and Rob Huff.
0.7 seconds sector 1, 0.1 second sector 2, 0 second sector 3. Katzberg is the fastest one and he's 2 corners behind you. P4 at the moment.
So Huffy moves up to P4, and look at the hands, look at that, goodness me. Rear wheels just onto the grass, and then whoosh, around it came. So he's having a little slide, back end got away, onto the grass, and frankly might as well have been onto ice. And again you see there, as he comes down the hill from 2 into the beginning of this huge turn 3.
Very good.
Coronel, Tommy.
I'm going to try to go more from brakes. I have front rocking, so I'm limited by that.
You hear Jose Maria Lopez chatting to his engineer there, as Tom Chilton almost bins it into the barriers. It's looking greyer again. And drivers here making the cars really dance. Katzberg, 0.8 of a second up in the first sector alone. Are you mad? Katzberg, 9 to 10, 2 wheels just onto that curb. That's safe. That was 2 wheels still very well inside the white line. And then from there to 11 and 12. Then 13 and 14, the corner that leads out onto the straight. As Nicky talked us around in free practice earlier, really running out wide around a lot of these corners, trying to avoid things. This could be another really quick lap from Katzberg. Be interesting to see it. 1.6 seconds quicker from Nicky Katzberg. An absolutely stunning lap from the Lada driver. Ted Björk, a better lap for him, but he is 8.5 seconds away, and Katzberg is almost at the end of the lap that will put him maybe 2 seconds clear of the field. So should we not bother seeing that? Katzberg goes half a second quicker, so he had a big loss of time in the final sector compared to his previous best. Gabriele Tarquini second quickest. It is Lada 1-2 at the moment. Lopez third for Citroën, and now coming back out with fresh rubber. Fourth is Muller for Citroën, fifth Huff, sixth Coronel. Whoa, Huffy. That's René Munich who's the rallycross driver, Rob. Wow. Way out there in no man's land. Ted Björk off as well. And past him comes Tom Chilton on a quick lap. And Björk just backs off to give him room so that he's not right up behind Tom. So that is the exit of corner 14. So expect to see that lap disallowed, I'm afraid, for Ted Björk, because that was so far out of the track limits that I think his sat-nav was probably recalibrating the route for him. So the Volvos again really, really struggling in the rain. Katzberg fastest then, a 1 minute 59.0. So we're 4 seconds off a damp time. And Norbert Michelitz now safely in the top 10. He's in 7th. So who's in the danger zone? 11th, Tom Chilton. 12th, Grégoire de Moustier. Out at the moment, Lada's Ugo Valente. His teammates are first and second. His teammates are second and third. Huff has just done the fastest lap of all. Maybe rallycrossing is good for the soul. 150, oh no, that lap's been disallowed. He popped up with a 155 something and has now vanished down to a 201 something as his best lap. His last lap was a 155.1. Haven't been notified that it's been disallowed, but it has clearly dropped off the radar and he is now back down in 8th, so as you were. So de Moustier in 12th, the cut-off point with 24 seconds remaining. Valente gets one more chance after this. Ugo goes 7th, so that is him in, but he's got to push on. Thompson in 10th. Michelitz 11th, Chilton 12th, that's where the cut-off is. De Moustier is out, Philippi is out, Ekblom is out, Fischer is out, Björk is out at the moment. Ekblom goes ahead of Philippi, but not enough to get in. Flag is out. The lap you're on will count. Nobody coming across the line now will get to start another one. Lap 8 disallowed for Mehdi Benani. So his last lap, which puts him 4th, does not count. Lopez takes the checker. Off there is John Philippi. Ooh, that was a moment for Katzberg and Benani. Well, also a moment for Philippi. Natch. So everybody streaming across the line to take the flag. Ted Björk in 15th. That's where he will start both races. Behind him, John Philippi in 16th. And Ferenc Fischer 17th. So I'm afraid Ferenc needed a dry track, and the last thing this is dry. De Moustier comes to the line, 13th. Benani is currently 12th, who shot off in the background. Was that Montero? That was Huff, Montero, not sure. Whoa, and Frederick Ekblom wrestling it around, trying to find more pace from the Volvo. Ooh, listen to the wheel spin. There's your problem. They cannot get, oh, and again, cannot get the power on the road. So basically, the throttle at the moment is just an understeer switch, and a very sensitive understeer switch as well. Nicky Katsberg fastest of all, Gabriele Tarquini second, Coronel third, Michelitz fourth. Can Ekblom beat Banani's time? Banani's been demoted to 12th, 2:02.118. He needs a 2:02.117, and that is 3.04 away, unless he's had a monumental final section. Oh! That is tantalising. Quarter of a second away from Banani and making the top 12. Good effort from Fethi Ekblom, but not enough, I'm afraid. So he does not go through. Bit of anti-mist on the inside of the windscreen and the door not helping. Nicky Katsberg car is misting up anyway. And another set of wets goes on, ready to go out into Q2. So, going through, Katsberg and Tarquini, Coronel and Michelitz, Valente and Montero, Thompson and Lopez and Muller and Chilton and Huff and Benani. Rob Huff 11th, so by the skin of his teeth. Benani 12th does go through. And those missing the cut are both Volvos, Freddie Ekblom and Ted Björk. Between them in 14th, Gregoire de Moustier in his Sebastian Loeb Citroën, then John Philippi in 16th and Ferenc Fischer in 17th. So now all bets are off again. Your lap does not count for anything else. Once you go through into Q2, we start the clocks again from scratch. And so our fastest dozen cars will go through. And Ugo Valente needs to get back to the pits as quickly as he can. So does James Thompson to make changes to go through into Q2. You won't be refueled. In fact, you'll be burning off fuel in Q1, and that will help you in Q2, but you will want fresher tyres. If you've got a brand new set, that would be good. Yeah, how did that lap stand, by the way? That was definitely all four wheels off. That was very definitely all four wheels off. And Coronel lost a couple of laps through that. Nevertheless, still managed to end up third quickest. "90 seconds until the start of Q2 at a very wet Moscow Raceway. And Jose Maria Lopez, let's hear from the Argentine.
Talk to me, man. Talk to me. We said you had to talk to me in the straight. I didn't know if I had to push. I didn't know if I was out. I didn't know anything. Sorry. Okay, but this tire didn't change so much. The car is still snap and more understeering than before. The only time I had confidence with the car was when it was all wet in the beginning. Then after 2-3 laps, it started to be snap and understeering.
All right, well, there you go. As we saw, the track very, very wet at the beginning. Paul Ricard wet. And that's when the Citroën felt at its best. Well, let's hear from Ted Björk at Volvo. Alex is with him.
Oh, some very blue faces down here in Polestar. Ted, what a pain. Why are you guys struggling with grip so much?
We don't know. The car looks absolutely beautiful. And the team is doing a really nice work, always having it in the best performance as we can have when we roll out on the track. But we just can't find the grip here on the rain, and we are thinking about it all the time and trying to develop it and see what we can learn. But now we are struggling.
Now, this is your first time here at Moscow Raceway, isn't it? I mean, I guess it's pretty tricky, really, to grasp the track in the conditions like this.
I would say no. It's quite an easy track, actually, but it has some slow and medium corners which really hurt us where we don't have the grip. So I think it actually is more that we need to find the setup for the car. As a driver, I feel confident with the track because it's not like the Nürburgring, for example. But still, it's always very difficult to come to a new place and then try to find it. Like we were driving in the rain in Marrakesh, and it was, you know, almost the same, even worse. So small step forward and hope we can find it for tomorrow.
Fingers crossed it'll be dry for tomorrow as well.
Not entirely sure that's going to be the case. However, we will have to wait and see what the weather brings. At the moment, much less rain, barely drizzle in the air, which means the track will get less damp. it's not going to be dry, but it might be less damp. Now, will that play against the Citroën? Will their performance fade? And will Honda and Lada improve? We'll have to wait and see. Leaden skies over Moscow Raceway, lots of spray in the air, a very wet track still. Not as wet as at the beginning of Q1 some 25 minutes ago, but as you can see from the onboard view of Norbert Michelitz, as he pulls out of the slipstream of Mehdi Banani, it is still very wet indeed, thank you. And comfortably the wettest that the cars have experienced here. We've had a couple of really heavy thunderstorms in the last few days here. We've had thunderstorms here before as well. They tend to move in very quickly. You can see them coming quite a long way away, but it tends to have a good following wind behind, so you get a lot of rain and you get it really quickly. It was raining at lunchtime as hard as it did at the Nürburgring. Anybody who's seen pictures of that, I don't mean the hail in the 24-hour race, I mean the rain after touring car qualifying, the heavens really opened. So second session of qualifying then, and this is a 10-minute period. The fastest 12 cars from the first session go through. James Thompson was among them there in the All-Inkle Chevrolet, working as ever with engineer Marco Calovolo. He teamed up in his N-Technology Alfa Romeo days and have really hit it off as a pairing. First of those to go on to a flying lap then will be former world champion Rob Huff. Incidentally, we're talking in the mixed conditions about how the Citroëns were behind a couple of the Chevrolets and saying, okay, the Citroën's now a 3-year-old design. How old is the Chevrolet Cruze? Well, it was 7 years old. So not a bad old stab at that RML had. Car still very competitive, and if it had a factory budget behind it or a big development budget behind it and RML still working on it, pretty much guarantee it will be giving the Citroëns a real run for their money right now. A good car tends not to become a bad car. The rules are the same. Ooh, listen to that. Norby, 4 wheels off, that's the exit of corner 9. That's bad news. Clearly see from that onboard, he tracked over the white line, all 4 wheels outside it. And you could hear why as well, couldn't you? As soon as he picked up the throttle, you get that big wheel spin. And basically, if the car's coming off a corner, it just tends to push you wider back out again. Nicky Katzberg, fastest in the first sector. Has been setting the timing screens alight all weekend. Fastest in the full dry free practice 1. Actually, he was only 11th in the damp session, but was very quick early on and didn't find more improvements. However, in the streaming wet Q1, he was comfortably quickest of all. Purple sector 2. Quicker than Rob Huff, who's just gone across the line in 2:02. Montero 2:01.9. Michelitz 2:01.7. This is going to be last car across the line, sets the fastest lap, isn't it? Coronel Banani go 4th and 5th. Nicky Katzberg comes to the line and goes 1:57.9. Just the 3 3/4. No wonder Scotty, his engineer, is looking a little bit puzzled. 3 3/4 seconds quicker, Nicky Katzberg. Well, Volvo might be hoping for dry weather conditions tomorrow. I'm not certain Katzberg is. Katzberg will take whatever comes his way, but holy moly, is he making the best of that. Tarquini goes 2nd, Muller 3rd. Lopez 4th. So the Citroën may not feel as comfortable as the track gets less damp or less flooded, but it's clearly still quick. And Muller and Lopez doing their level best to wring its neck. Listen to the wheel spin. These cars really traction limited by the conditions. And Muller there with all sorts of handfuls of Oppo trying to get that turned in, having 2 or 3 bites of the cherry when the Citroen was really trying hard to go straight on at both ends. Tom Coronel currently on his 2nd flying lap. He's 11th at the moment, Bernani 12th. Whoa! Come back, come back, come back. Pachito venturing off into an entirely different county out there. Gatsberg's Lada, fastest of all at the moment. Clock's running on Tom Coronel in the background, maybe Bernani closer to us. And as you can see, already at the end of Sector 2, 3 seconds away from the fastest time. The gap first to second, by the way, is still 2.1 seconds. Coronel goes 9th. Gatsberg fastest of all. Tarquini, a better personal lap. Gatsberg has just gone. This is what he did in the end of free practice on fresher rubber, at the end of free practice 1, set the fastest lap of the session, and then immediately the second fastest, just done the same again. Nicky Gatsberg's last 2 laps, 1:57.92, 1:57.98. Last 2 laps by Gabriele Tarquini, his teammate, 1:60.0, 1:59.0. So a second quicker on his second of those laps, Gabriele Tarquini, but that still leaves him 1.1, not 2.1, off Gatsberg's best time. However, those two have been joined now by Ugo Valente at the top of the slippery pole. So it's Lada 1, Lada 2, Lada 3. James Thompson 4th in the Chevrolet. In his 3rd appearance in the car, and Huffy, do you know, it's almost getting to the stage now where you're having to pitch the car at the corner, 1960s mini driving style, so allowing for the understeer, so turning in and aiming inside the curbs, except now, because it is so wet, you're having to run the long way around the outside as well. Rob Huff is 11th. And I'm sensing possibly not a happy bunny. I don't know which way they've gone on setup on the car, and there may be a lap coming here. First sector was good, second was not. See the other Hondas fanning out behind, Norbert Michelitz, and behind him Thiago Montero. Thiago's fully lit, and Norby needs to mind his P's and Q's and stay out of the way, and I'm sure they're saying so on the radio, because Rob is 10th, Thiago 11th, and Thiago goes to... it was 6th, it's now 7th, because Bernani's improved as well. So Bernani goes to 6th, Montero 7th, but your top 5, and that's the cars that go through into Q3 at the moment, 3 Ladas, a Chevrolet and a Muller. And since we're down to only 1 Muller in the championship these days, that'll be Ivan then. Here comes Tom Chilton, currently 12th, 4.4 seconds adrift. Better first sector, but look, he's 3.9 adrift at the end of sector 2. Not feeling the love in the Sebastian Loeb Racing Citroen, and about 3 car widths away from the exit of the corner. 4.2 away. He's quicker, but not that it makes any difference. Ivan now down to 6th as Pachito has gone 5th quickest. So Nicky Gatsberg, not a green sector on his next lap, nor Tarquini, nor Valente, nor Thompson, nor Muller. Lopez has gone quicker in his first sector. Don't think we'll be troubling the pile of slicks anytime soon, will we? I think they'll be safely in their tyre blankets for quite some while. Checkered flag is out. This one had better be a real doozy, Rob. 2.8 away. At this stage, we'll get him into 6th, not 5th. He needs to find more. Coronel from 10th is in a position to go into the top 5. Michelitz is not. Huff at the moment is not, unless their final sectors are exceptional. Huffy not using enough of the road, I don't think. This will be an improvement. He goes 9th, nowhere near close enough. Or are they playing for the race 1 grid? 9th for Montero, 10th for Huff. Huff is down to 11th. He's flicked out as Coronel comes through in 7th. Ivan is in 8th, and Ivan is not on a better lap. Ivan stays 8th. So Huff will start both races in 11th, unless Tom Chilton's got something brilliant, and Muller has nothing left, not on this lap. Unless, no, he's just backed off completely and cruising to the flag, creeping to the flag. Well, that was almost like Cinquamar was behind him. What was going on with that? Tom Chilton, 12th for both races. Rob Huff, 11th for both races. The gamble did not work. Montero, 10th, will start the opening race in Moscow on the DHL pole. Mehdi Banani, 9th, will start the opening race alongside him. Ivan Muller will be 3rd on the grid, and that's why he crept round to make damn fine sure he didn't accidentally improve. Tom Coronel will be 4th on the grid, ahead of Jose Maria Lopez and James Thompson. Norbert Michelitz, Ugo Valente, Gabriele Tarquini and Nicky Katzberg. That'll round out the top 10 on the opening race grid. So Montero gambled correctly. He will start the opening race in Moscow from the DHL pole. And if it's like this, that is halfway to the result he wants and needs to keep himself in championship contention. However, the 5 that go through into Q3 are going out first: Jimmy T, James Thompson, then Michelitz, Valente, Tarquini and Katzberg. Let's hear from Lopez.
Okay, P6. Sorry, man. P6.
Okay, pit in. Well, unsurprising, checkered flag is out. Not sure he was going to do anything else. Or was that P6? Whatever. Rob Huff, shocker, P11. That is very bad news for both races. Very bad news. Thiago Montero, though, will start at least the opening race here from the front row of the grid. Pole position for him could play very well indeed. Well, Alex Agui down in the back of the garage at Honda. Not quite sure which of those stories is the bigger, actually, for Honda. Montero on pole or Huff in 11th for both races. Perhaps Montero rather more positive. Huffy very disappointed, I'm sure, too. Tom Chilton there, car number 3. Lopez, well, in the middle for both races. Okay, take that. It's not like he hasn't got a 94 points championship advantage before we even get to the midway points of the season. Montero doesn't have the demeanour of a man who's overjoyed, though, does he? Does he know that he's on pole for the opening race? He must do. Come on, they must have told him. Hondas are a handful. Mind you, everything is a handful in this weather. Wonder if Thiago thought he had enough to get into the top 5. Well, you can only start one of our races on pole. You just can't do it for both races. So you're going to either start one or the other. Right, ready to go into Q3 in 10 seconds, but first, I think it might be time to catch up with Thiago Montero. Let's get down to Honda, catch up with our DHL pole sitter for race 1, the opening race, Thiago Montero.
Just a quick chat with you, Thiago. Pullman for the opening race. Congratulations.
Thank you, but it was not the plan. I mean, it's a bit frustrating, to be honest, because here we were strong on the dry, strong on the damp, and obviously a bit more struggling on the wet. But still, the top 5 was doable. That was what I wanted to do. And there was a lot of traffic, I would say, on the track, and I could not improve my lap time. I lost my opportunity.
Well, falling over traffic and going off wide, it did look, didn't it, as though maybe that incident cost him a chance to shoot for the top 5. And of course the difference between being in the top 5 and not being in the top 5 is championship points. If you're on pole, you get 5 points. If you're second, you get 4, and so on down to the 5th person in the Q3 shootout, where you get a single point. And every single championship point now is going to be absolutely crucial for everybody, because Jose Maria Lopez has got such a huge advantage. So James Thompson building up to speed. Again, here as the turbo chimes in there, how the wheel spin immediately follows. So they'll be using all sorts of sophisticated electronic mapping to try and reduce the instant effect of the boost coming in, to try and reduce that wheel spin, but without reducing power or speed. And it is a fine balancing act that the driver is not always totally in control of on a turbocharged motor. So up to speed now, down the back straight. Just to remind you, Q3, a single flying lap for each of the fastest 5 drivers in the previous qualifying session. Here we go, out of corner 15 and across the line. And as he starts his flying lap, once he's around about a third of it, the next car will be released, and that will be the Honda, the only Honda to get through, of Norbert Michelis. James Thompson, the only independent driver to get through, driving the car in place of René Munich, who has actually only been able to attend 2 World Touring Car races so far this season, out of now 6 that we have been to, because of so many clashes with his World Rallycross program. And Tomo runs out deep there, really V's the corner off, carrying speed all the way in, and then turning tight and carrying it all the way out again. So the all-in-cool Munich Motorsport team watching intently. Crest the rise, got to keep it under control, out of 9, and not run too wide out there on your right before you get to the next left-hander at turn 10. That will incur a penalty. And neat and tidy does it. Whatever happens here, James will start in the top 5 for the main race, and somewhere 6 to 10 on the opening race grid. And obviously, the driver wants to wring as much out of the car as they can in this one-off lap. It is all about finding maximum performance, and then whatever happens in the races afterwards, happens in the races afterwards. Lots of wheel spin coming out of 14 onto the back straight. Where is this going to leave him in terms of lap time? Well, we won't know how it compares with the others until they've all had a shot. But he will set the benchmark. And across the line, 2:01.14, that's a decent lap. And we saw 1:59s from the Larders. So let's see what our next competitor, Norbert Michelis, can produce. Norby coming down the back straight, trying to make sure he's got heat in the tyres. The only Honda representative in the top 5. And after free practice and the first 2 sections of qualifying, you have to say it has all the hallmarks of a Lada 1-2-3. So Norby across the line, pulled the gears early there, really early, to make sure there was no wheel spin. Changing up early, takes the boost off the turbo, carries the momentum, uses the torque of the turbocharged engine more. And so if that would normally be a high revs, say 3rd gear corner, you'll pull 4th early and try exactly as you might do in your own road car if in snowy conditions, just trying to stop the engine revving too much and producing too much wheel spin. So quite possibly up a gear in all of these turns, or the really critical ones anyway. just to keep the engine pulling on torque. Oh, drift out wide there. Should get away with that. 41.5 first sector. Thompson was a 41.3. He's 1800s back. Some more technical sector 2. This is corner 12, drop down a little and then start to climb back up. 13. And then corner 14. Here, how tentative the drivers are having to be with the throttle. And again, hear him shift up so early in the turn there, and so early. Almost no RPM on the motor at all. Just trying to use the torque like a diesel engine maybe would to haul the car along 2/10 away. On the limiter. And then shifting down. Now, looks like he may not even have gone for top gear there, just held the revs. And across the line he comes, 0.2 away. So Thompson remains on top of the pile, Norby in second. A little bit of excitement. Oh! So Ugo Valente on his outlap. It is now a battle of the Lada drivers to try and beat James Thompson's vulnerable, privately entered Chevrolet. Well, we had Norby's team radio channel open all the way round his lap, as you heard, not a whisper from anybody, and I'm pretty much sure it'll be the same with Ugo unless something goes V pear-shaped. In his head, he was thinking exactly what you were doing. Come around, come around. He just wasn't uttering it. It's his engineer. Bated breath. Okay, 41.1, 2/10 quicker than Thompson for Ugo Valente. Gabriele Tarquini will follow him for Lada. And last of all to go will be Nicky Katzberg for Lada, who has been comfortably the quickest man. Lada on the brink of a remarkable achievement here. A home circuit, but not one that they use, because actually the team is based at Manicourt in France. James Thompson in the garage with Marco, his engineer. Looked like a good lap, he looked happy with it. Valente a little quicker in the first sector. James 51.18 in the second sector, and Ugo, oh goodness me, 54.39. That's a big second sector from the Volvo, He's never driven a Volvo. From the Lada driver. And he comes out of the final corner. You can hear the track announcer getting very excited. Lots of fans here to see the Volvo go on top. The Lada go on top by nearly a second.
Yay! 1, 2, 3, line up, boys. Congrats. Congrats. Good job. Wow.
Not sure we can guarantee 1, 2, 3 for the Lada boys yet. There's still 2 cars to go. The rain has stopped, and the track is not getting any wetter. Right. Hands up anybody who can remember the last time Gabriele Tarquini claimed a pole position. Right, as he starts his lap, let's go back and have a look. 2014, Gabriele Tarquini, 1 pole. So I don't remember what racetrack that was at. Feel free to text your answers to the usual number. If you don't know the usual number, you probably can't give me the answer. Tarquini then, Now, we do definitely have the potential for a Lada 1, 2, 3. Again, using the very wide line around turn 3. Then left-handed turn 4 into 5. And he is half a second up. Track is getting quicker. There's just less water around for the tyres to need to move. They're skating over the surface a bit less, digging into it a little better. And of course, Gabrielli was probably on qualifying laps when almost everybody else was still at school. Slovakia 2013, thank you Neil Hudson, according to, that's a win in 2014. I was looking in the wrong column, wasn't I? 2 poles in 2013, Gabriele Tarquini had. 1 win in 2014. So 7/10 up Tarquini, setting the bar for that young whippersnapper Katzberg, who will follow him out on track. Can it be Tarquini who will claim main race pole? Look at it, right down the middle of the track. Ooh, and still gets snap oversteer as he turns in. Across the line he will come, 1 second clear of Ugo Valente. It's a Lada front row at least guaranteed for Viktor Shapovalov there on the inset. And the smile is starting to grow because his young ace in the hole, Nicky Katzberg, has yet to come. And you can't see it, but on my timing screen, Nicky Katzberg on his outlap went purple in sector 2. That means his outlap sector 2 was quicker than anybody else's qualifying lap sector 2. Katzberg starts the final lap of qualifying and a shot now at pole position for the main race in Moscow to lead a Lada qualifying 1, 2, 3. He's shown throughout practice he's got the potential. At the moment, Valente in second, Tarquini in first, and Nicky Katzberg needs to produce another top draw effort here. He kept it clean in turn 1, no dramas with track limits. 3800s over Gabriele Tarquini. Katzberg really rocked the Le Mans fraternity on its heels last week at the test weekend. His first time ever at the track and coming out with a single fastest lap in a class in which he's actually not going to be racing at Le Mans in the GT class with you have to say, normally unfancy Corvette. Katzberg just set the place alight, and now his engineer is watching. It's out of his hands. It's down to Nicky. There's Ugo. All smiles. This should be a Lada 1, 2, 3. He should go purple in sector 2 because he did on his outlap. How much in front will he be? 1.2 seconds clear.
Good.
Scotty, his engineer, just doesn't even want to talk to him. I'm sure Katzberg doesn't really want to hear it either. He knows it's a good lap. No, 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 no. Don't go wide. He doesn't even get out to the white line. And Nicky Katzberg comes across the line. It is a Lada 1, 2, 3.
Slow on the in-lap, but not too slow. Copy that. Woo-hoo-hoo! Thanks, guys. First pole position. And I'm getting P1, 2, 3 for Lada. Fucking nice. Yeah, copy that, mate. Copy that, mate. Yeah, all correct. Okay, so just not too slow, but not too fast on the in-lap, please. Okay. Good job. Good job.
I think what he's saying is no need to set any more purple sectors. Well, Viktor Shapovalov, what a happy man. Home race for Rosneft, who are sponsoring the races here in Russia, and the DHL pole sitter for the main race, Nicky Katzberg in a Lada. Alongside him, Gabriele Tarquini, in a Lada. Third on the grid, Ugo Valente in a Lada. Lada sweep Q3. What a good job. What a good job. And what remarkable traction they have found that Honda couldn't and that Citroën couldn't. That's quite a remarkable work by the team to find that wet weather traction. I know Gabrielli would have loved to have taken pole, but this is a team effort between the three drivers, the engineers and Victor the boss and all the other boys of the team. You know, they all sit together and they debrief together and they brainstorm their engineering solutions together.
Even in your craziest dream, you never thought about this. In your craziest dream. No. Good job, huh? We repeat your success.
Yes. You follow the example. It's very good.
It's not a planet. I think you should stay behind in like me. Like this, we make a good time.
Of course, there's something else we've got to contemplate now, Mach 3. And unless something goes really quite badly wrong with Lada, this should be made in the shade. Of course, that might slightly be the curse of the commentator. And for the others, well, Honda leading the charge in the dry and nowhere in the wet. Mamma mia, that well-known Russian expression. He's a man of some good words. Here's Victor. Just a remarkably bright and sunny result in very grim conditions for the Ladas. 1, 2, 3. And they have a chance now to go into Mach 3 and to beat the other manufacturers. So the DHL pole sitter for our main race will be Nicky Katzberg, his Lada teammates second and third. That's not the way it finished in qualifying. Lopez wasn't fourth, Thompson was. So I have no idea exactly what that is. That's not the qualifying result. And then, once they're given the go-ahead, we'll charge off for 2 laps of the circuit. And the time elapsed between them departing and the third of the cars making it across the finish line will determine win, lose and draw in the Mach 3 contest. Lada go first, they're third in the manufacturer standings. Honda will go second, and points leaders, Citroën will go third. So the idea is that Lada will set the time, and the others then have a target to beat. Now, the ostensible plan is that Ugo Valente will be the time-setting driver, i.e. the one at the back of the train by which everything else is measured. So the idea is to try and start your fastest qualifier at the front and allow him to tow the rest along, rather than have the fastest at the back constantly in the slipstream of a slower car being held up. The idea is to put the engine at the front and the carriages behind, rather than the other way around. So if I can express it in that manner. So you want the quickest at the front towing them along. So there are your 3 race engineers. Stood right there. Really an awful lot you can do. Drivers can talk between themselves. And we'll have Ugo and Nicky's radio open. So try not to stand on that. Of course, they're talking live, so we will not necessarily have any warning of when that might happen. We've seen a few entertaining issues in Mach 3. We've seen starts, we've seen punctures, we've seen stalls, we've seen full starts, we've seen very, very close battles. Lada only just beaten by Citroën in France by, what was it, 0.003 of a second? Very tight.
So I'm taking the wrong position, so I'm gonna go on the right, I'm sorry. Okay, copy, maybe the confusion. Okay, no worries. Okay, just focus on the start.
Now, in theory,
15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Red lights are on. Oh, that wasn't good. Loads of wheel spin for Nicky Katzberg. Almost looked like Gabriele Tarquini was going too soon. And if Katzberg was supposed to be the train that was pulling the engine that was pulling the train along, that did not work well. That was not the smoothest start they wanted. Now, to claim 1, 2, 3 in qualifying and to win Mach 3 would be very sweet indeed. The deal now, I think, is that Gabriele Tarquini really needs to rock on a bit, and Valente and Katzberg need to work together to catch him up. Only one long straight and then the shorter pit straight on this track. The rest of it is fairly technical. You don't get an awful lot of a slipstream here. What you do get is very low visibility in the spray of the car in front. Tarquini, I think, is doing exactly that. He's heading for the hills. No need to dawdle here. It's down to Valente and Katzberg to try and dig the fat out of the fire. Now when they get onto the back straight and Nicky Katzberg gets in very deep, intentionally or otherwise, behind Hugo. Oh, and Hugo's all over the road. Katzberg might be needing to get by him on the main straight here. Down into 12, up into 13. And then right in 14. Katzberg's not close enough to make a pass, is he? He's going to have to sit behind. Valente won't want to slow on the straight. It is getting drier. It will be less tricky in 5 minutes when Honda go out. And less... Is that Hugo asking, shall I let Nicky past? I don't think it was. So Tarquini goes across the line. And now final flying lap to go. Exceeding track limits will be penalised here, just as it would be at any other time. So corner 1, corner 9, corner 14, corner 15 especially being watched. That's why they wanted to start Nicky Katzberg out front. I suppose the bonus of him being at the back is that he's only going to be inches behind Hugo Valente. But Gabriele Tarquini went off like a scalded cat. If Katzberg wasn't with Valente, Valente would be all on his own with no slipstream and no tow. So a big margin between Gabriele crossing the line and Katzberg crossing the line in third place, though. It's not how fast your fastest goes, it's how fast your slowest goes. Valente is definitely struggling to stay in front of Katzberg. Hondas are out on their formation lap. Out of 13 into 14. Tarquini halfway up the straight already, almost. Valente and Katzberg need to get this as close to right as they can. 2 minutes 5.09 for the standing start lap. Katzberg goes out wide to try and get a good view and a run at the line. Ooh, and as they come to the line, the time is a 4 minute 4.35. So Arno writes that down.
Okay, buddy. Okay, one. Sorry, checking flag, just saying checking flag. Copy that. Is everything okay? Was everything okay? So far, yeah,
sorry,
so
the
far
car was
everything's
very
good. So,
oversteer.
just come back and we'll enjoy the
I don't know if I should have let Nicky pass enough, but I didn't have you guys on the radio.
Copy that.
I got no answer.
Okay, so it was Ugo that we heard calling on the back straight at the end of the first lap. Should I let Nicky back? We didn't hear an answer, he didn't hear an answer. And you heard Ugo there saying to his engineer that he had a lot of oversteer. Now we'll have all 3 Honda radio channels open live. And you heard Nicky Katzberg's engineer counting down when the 15-second board goes so that he gets down to 7, and then they know in a couple of seconds the 5 seconds will come and they will be looking for the lights. Well, that rather kiboshed them in Slovakia when the lights went on when he had not even got to 7. So nobody was quite ready. So here we go, red lights are on. And away we go, Norbert Michelitz in the middle. Rob Huff wants to go around the outside into turn 1 and take the lead of this train, but Norby again with better traction gets the start. Huffy tucks in second, Thiago Monteiro in third. So that's the way it's going to be. Norby leads, Huff second, Monteiro third. Rob Huff with the green mirrors, Thiago with the red mirrors. Huffy's car just trying to drift away from him there as he got off the throttle into turn 3. It was just starting to slide off down the hill. And again, here Norby shifting up so early. It really is like he's driving a diesel, isn't it? Yeah, he's changing up to 3,000 or 4,000 RPM as opposed to 6 or 7 or something. That's what it sounds like. Really early upshifts on board with Rob Huff. So you can see the Lada split time for each of the sectors on 40.5 at the end of sector 2. At the end of sector 1, the Hondas are already 0.44 behind. Time they're chasing, 1 minute 40.59, and as they come out of 14, they get to the line for the end of timing sector 2 there, and they go behind by 0.62. So the Hondas are still struggling for grip. Here I'm going by the camera mic there, using plenty of revs down the straight. Again, hear how early Norby is shifting up, and it's really working, and maybe that's something that the others will find from the data traces. I don't know, we need to talk to Rob and Thiago later and find out whether Norby is shifting up significantly early than them, and if he is, bearing in mind that he qualified better than they did, maybe there's something in that if it's wet, wet, wet tomorrow. Citroen team will go last, already heading out of the pit lane. It's quite a lot brighter outside, isn't it, than even at the beginning of Mach 3, and certainly way brighter than it was at the beginning of qualifying. But this track is low grip at the best of times and remains very slippery until it's bone dry, even slightly damp. It is very slippery indeed. Popping over the brow at turn 9 for the second time. Quite close together, the Ladas. Don't forget, Gabriele Tarquini was a long way clear of the other two. Norby is eased clear of these two at the moment. Rob in second, Thiago in third. So it's how long Thiago takes. Ooh, big slide from Rob. You can see again, they are pushing hard. Sometimes it doesn't look like it because they look a little bit slower and not so much on the edge, but then when the car breaks away, you go, oh yeah. Like when the ballet dancer slips, when a skater ends up on their backside on the ice, you suddenly remember just how difficult this thing is that they make look so easy. It's the same with your racing drivers. 0.79 behind at the end of timing sector 2. Lada will lead this one by the end of this lap, leaving it down to Citroën to try and beat them. Goodness me, could this turn into another extension of the smile for Victor Shapovalov? Honda are not going to get close. Thiago Sam way behind as they got to the line. So Honda kept the gap at 0.6.
We are leading.
Yeah. So Honda in second, Lada lead.
So second by 6:10. We have been along all the Mach 3 between 4:10 and 6:10. And the last lap we have been consistently between 6 and 7, 6 and 7.
Jose Maria Lopez, Ivan Muller and Tom Chilton come to the line. The strategy being for Tom to be the third of the 3 Citroën C-Elysées as they take on Mach 3 as our championship points leaders. They have the honour of going last and they are chasing Lada. Again, we have the Citroën Team Radio open on all 3 channels. And away we go, quick change to the lights. Ooh, somebody's got a lot of wheel spin there, haven't they? Hanging on to the revs. So Lopez into turn 1 in front of Ivan Muller. And then Tom Chilton, first Mach 3 for the Englishman. Up until now, it's been Mehdi Benani. Chilton comfortably quicker than Benani at the Nordschleife. But by that stage, the team said, well, we'd already decided and put Mehdi in because he was the more experienced driver in the car, having done the previous season, of course, with the Citroën C-Elysée. Well, again, on the entry list, or on the list that was published yesterday, Citroën had Benani nominated. They've clearly decided that they're going to use Coronel. I don't mean Coronel, I mean Chilton.
Understood. They're trying something with the pressures. Hold your position.
So Ivan is clearly holding up Tom. You heard Tom Chilton's engineer, Nick. Yeah, I mean, Chilton's, were this a race, you'd be saying, yeah, Chilton's looking for a way by, isn't he? And Ivan just cannot keep the back of the car under the rain that he needs it to. It is all over the road, and Chilton's car looks much more stable, much more progressive. And I think Ivan needs to look at letting Tom Chilton through here.
Tom, you have to pass on straight. You are to pass on straight.
Yes.
Ivan has the instruction.
So they've already engineered that. You heard Ivan being told. Chilton can't. So Ivan's now arguing.
Not yet.
Okay, one more lap.
So Chilton is going by, and Ivan has to feather the throttle a little to allow him to do so. And I'm afraid, I think Tom got a little bit balked when Ivan got sideways in 13 through to 14. It was not close enough on the back straight to actually get by where he wanted to on the longer of the straights. Now, can he pick up the pace a little for Citroën? They're over a second back at the end of the first lap. So at the moment, they're not going to be first. At the moment, they're not going to be second.
You know Victor is going to see this.
Yeah, Victor is going to see everything. The Lada boys looking, as you might perhaps expect, fairly happy at the moment. Citroën 2.6 behind, and that's what swapping the places is costing. Ivan dropping behind. Fairly stony faces on the Citroën pit wall. You've Maton at the far end. Tom Chilton clearly a lot quicker than Ivan Muller, and you see why again. Ivan turns in there, the front turns, the back just tries to loop round under him. Far too much rear steer, even for a man with his enormous experience of going sideways in ice racing. That was induced predominantly in rear-wheel drive cars. Well, four-wheel drive cars, but then that you do have driven rears, and that sort of works in ice racing. You get that classic four-wheel drift. Gabriele sottovoce there to Nicky Katzberg. Citroën nearly 4 seconds back. And as they cross the line, it will be Ivan Muller hanging out at the tail of the trio. Chilton has closed on Lopez a little. Lopez the quickest of the three. And Citroën in third place by 4.16 seconds. And the Lada drivers win Mach 3. 1, 2, 3 in qualifying. It's their Saturday afternoon. Okay, let's get those cheesy faces, those big grins on the front of the newspapers tomorrow morning in Moscow, and get a big crowd out here. Get these guys on the TV news tonight, because the Russians have a lot to smile about here.
We have press conference, no?
No. Us? All three?
Us?
Okay, can I send Nicky?
Yeah, no, speak for all of us.
Well, they are all going to have to go to the press conference, because it will be a Lada 1, 2, 3 in qualifying. I give it a big shout up to James Thompson as well. Well, Alex Legui is down with our Lada trio. Get in there, Al.
Well, 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 look at that. My goodness me, that's history in qualifying, and now in Mach 3. Congratulations. Let's start with you, Nicky. What was it like out there?
I mean, yeah, Mach 3 was pretty much the same as qualifying. We showed that we had great pace, and I just tried to follow the guys. Obviously, they had a better start again. So, no, we did great, and I'm super, super happy.
What happened at the start, Tarquini? Because we heard on the radio, I think one of you said that you hadn't actually lined up in the right order. What happened?
No, we changed. We swapped position because, I mean, Nicky had a very good pace in qualifying, so I decided probably to give the best option to be on leader on Nicky, but unfortunately, as usual, I overtook him in the start, and I hope I will be also the same I can do in the race. No, but I mean, Mach 3 is important, but the qualifying for us is a dream come true, because we never dreamed to be 1, 2, 3 at home race. It's fantastic.
It really, really is for Russia as well. And for you, Hugo, did we hear you at one point asking you if you could overtake?
No, I was asking if Nicky should pass, because I knew he had a great pace in qualifying. But yeah, as Gabby said, Mach 3 is a great result for us, but qualifying is the most important. For Lada, for Rosneft, it's a home weekend, so it's amazing. Yeah, it's a very, very good result.
Great stuff, well done.
Excellent work indeed. Rosneft sponsoring the race weekend here, sponsoring the team that swept the top 3 in qualifying, that have won Mach 3. Now, look, we've had a lot of wet races. We've been cold, wet. I'm currently soaked from the top to the bottom and from the bottom up because the whole place is flooded. However, if anyone knows how to do a Russian rain dance, there's 3 boys there who would be very, very happy to have some wet races tomorrow. And they're not in red and white and green, and they're not in red and white. They are in yellow and black and orange, and they would be absolutely thrilled. And James Thompson there chatting away to the boys as well, of course. He was so much a part of the growth of the Lada team as well, right from the very inception. And